Hi, my name's Tom, and today we're going to do some sales area training. So rather than diving straight into the into paperwork, we're going to kind of go through some slides first to kind of explain a few little bits about the sales area, explaining the difference between the different types of sales, and then kind of how to tweak some settings. So first off, we've got our bit of an agenda. So yeah, the first thing we'll look at is the different stages of a sales document. Then we'll go into the differences between the three types of sales within paperwork, and then kind of show you how to force the use of agreements, which is a type of sale. Okay, so first off, we have the different stages of a sale. So kind of when we're talking about a sale, we're kind of say sending a document to the customer and trying to get them to get to that delicious won state. So there is 5 stages of a sale currently built within paperwork. There is draft, there is sent, there is lost, won, and technical. Okay, so those are the 5 different statuses. So what are the differences of these 5 types? So first off, a sale uh, can be draft. So the first state is draft. So when you create a price list or a agreement or a job or a quote, sorry, the first stage is draft. It's automatically set as draft. You can change it if you want, but it's automatically set as draft. So a draft sale can be changed to any other status. So you can change draft to sent, draft to lost, draft to won, draft to technical. That's fine, and it can be edited. So when it's in draft, you can edit it and change it and modify it, and then kind of move it along its statuses. A draft sale cannot be converted to a job. A draft sale cannot be converted to an agreement. It cannot be converted. Okay, so next on our list is sent. So the blue icon, sent. So a sale that is in the sent status can be changed to any other status. And it can be edited, and it can be converted to a job, or it can be converted to an agreement. Very similar to draft. This is just kind of a notification, like kind of a visual cue to let users know that it was in draft. That's when you're working in it. Now it's been sent. It's actually been sent to the user, to the client. Next down the list, we have lost. So lost lets the user know, lets you know as a user that this sale has ended. It's been lost. It was never converted. It's gone. So it cannot be converted into a job or an agreement. It cannot be changed to any other status. So once it has been lost, it is locked. And a lost sale cannot be edited in any way. So if you move it over to lost, it's going to just sit there as lost. So this is a locked status. So only kind of use this when you know it has actually been lost. So kind of keep an eye on it. You can kind of keep an eye on it in sent or in draft, but once it's moved to lost, you're going to be locking that down. Next we have won. So this is kind of the aim. That's why it's green. This is where we're trying to get to. So we've got information and we've kind of populated it in draft. We've then sent it to the customer, sent it to our client, and now they've come back and they've confirmed it. And so this means it can be converted to a job or an agreement. It can be changed to any other status because you might want to mark it as won and then move it to technical, or mark it as won and then move it back to draft if you wish. And it can be edited so that you can do changes on it. And the last stage we've got here is technical. So this is like the light blue. Technical is quite an important stage of a sale. So this can be converted to a job. This can be changed to any other status, and it can be edited. Also, what you can do within the system is you can mark individuals within inside your organization as members of the technical team. If this then gets moved to technical, they will receive a notification to say this sale has been changed to technical, basically meaning can you do the technical work on it. So this might be from an operations standpoint of understanding the bigger aspects of the work, like doing risk and method statements, or it could be from a kind of technical waste standpoint of understanding what the waste is. So great, we know what the waste is. We knew it was oily rags, so it was like this, but can you just kind of confirm the EWC codes, HP codes, UN, ADR information on there? So once a technical status is set, the technical members of the team get those notifications. Okay, so they're the different stages. So we've got draft, we've got sent, we've got lost, we've got won, and we've got technical. So next, we look into the three types of sales. So within the sales area, we have three types of sales. We have a quote, we have a price list, and we have an agreement. So they are different and they serve different functions. So a quote, the idea of a quote is that a quote is a single package of work, so a single job that just wants to be quoted out, sent to maybe a new client, or it's kind of slightly different to the work that's normally done by a client. So you send that out, they accept it, then you can either create an agreement from that, or you can turn that into a job. Single kind of the idea of a quote is, yes, it's a single package of work that may be repeated, or it might be one off, and it just kind of you create work against it. Price lists are kind of do what they say on the tin. This can be a long list of different prices that you want to send to your customer, your client. There's not a single package of work in here. This could be a list of different packages of work. These can never be converted straight into a job. They have to go through an intermediary step. That intermediary step is an agreement. So an agreement is similar to a quote. So an agreement is a single package of work that gets converted to a job. It could be one package of work that happens once as a kind of ad hoc, or it could be a part of a bigger package of work that's happened on a recurring basis. So kind of maybe skips delivered, exchanged, off hired, or 240-litre bins being lifted. So the thing to note about these is when you create a sales type, so when you hit create, and we'll go through this in the UI in a second, you only have the option to choose quote or price list. There isn't that third option because agreements can only be created from either a quote or a price list. So got this handy little graphic, hopefully it helps. So you start off here with your at the starting point thinking I want to create some kind of sale. Then you have when you first create it, when you create a draft, you can choose that it's either a quote or a price list. So you have that choice to choose one or the other. Up until it is actually converted into something, you can interchange between it. So there might be a situation where you are thinking you're creating a quote because it sounds like one individual package of work. So let's say it is the delivery in of a 4-yard builder skip. You're expecting to just deliver it in, do some exchanges on it, then off hire it in the future. That sounds like one package of work to me. So maybe you want to create a quote. And then kind of pass that through to create an agreement. However, as you talk more and more with your client, they're also asking about light tubes, they're asking about interceptor suckouts, things like that. So then halfway through, you go, oh, do you know what? This sounds more like a price list. I'm going to convert it to a price list. And then we can put all the different waste lines on there, all of the different extras types on there. And then we can call off individual packages of work as agreements. So you've got this ability to actually create a quote, create a price list, and then the thing to note is that both quotes can be turned into agreements, or they can be turned into a job. If they are turned into an agreement, that quote can never be then turned into a job. It can only go from an agreement to a job. If you create a job straight from a quote, it can't be turned into agreement. So there's like this is why it's kind of empty here, but so the idea would be that you either choose create an agreement or create a job from a quote. Once you've done that, the other option is closed to you. With price lists, you can only ever create agreements. from it, and then agreements, you can only ever create a job from them. So the kind of flow is create what type you want. If it's a price list, you know you're going to have to create agreements to create jobs. With a quote, you have the option there of create an agreement or create a job. However, there is a feature with inside Disposal's paperwork, that means that you can force users that create quotes to also go through this agreement pathway. So I'll show you that into the system now. So I think that's the end of the slideshow, but we'll kind of jump into Disposal paperwork and kind of show you this in action. So we're back in Panama recycling resources here, and we're going to jump into our friend MFNR. So what we can see here at the top is we have these three in action. So we have a price list here for the London Retails collection. We've got an agreement set up from them, which is being pulled from this price list here. And we have a quote that is being kind of an ad hoc. So what we'll do is kind of show you these three in action, show you why they're different, how they are different, kind of show you the process of working through it. So we go into the price list first of all. So we'll hit view on this. You can see that this is a price list for the collection and disposal of various items from the back of store in London. Excellent. Jump straight into the documents, because the sales document shows you all the information you need to see. So first of all, what we can see here is this is a price list because it says at the top. You can also see it's a price list because it says at the top here as well. So within the UI you can see it, and within the document itself you can see it as well. So we have a list of various wastes, so we'll just kind of scroll to there. So we've got general mixed municipal waste, dry mix recycling, paper and cardboard, builder's waste, light tubes, interceptor liquids, oily rags. So we've got drums in there, we've got a coffin, we've got a skip, we've got different bins, we've got tonnage, so bulk liquid here. So this is very much like, this is not a specific packet of work. This is a price list. There's lots of different things. This will never happen on the same vehicle. It probably won't even happen on the same day most of the time. It's kind of letting the customer know this is all the options that you've got in waste. So if we scroll down a wee bit more, what we can see, we've also got additional extras in here as well. So we've got demurrage, vacuum tanker, and admin fees, and vans, and drum supplies, and label supply, and confined space entry team. So again, these kind of additional charges that sit alongside waste aren't going to happen in the same job. You're probably never going to have the, you're not going to collect a paper and cardboard bin with a 3-man confined space entry team. So this is kind of showing that with a price list, you bulk up lots of different wastes, lots of different extras, and then kind of join them together and showing basically it's a menu of what you offer to your client. So one thing to note here is you can download it, but there isn't a button here. So kind of be aware that there's no button here to click. You can add any number of wastes on here. You can add any number of extras. So these lists can get very long, and you can share those with your clients if you wish. But this is kind of the starting point of everything. So this job has been won. So what we know is one can be converted to other things. And when we hit the convert button, the only option here is to create an agreement. So we cannot create a quote from this. We cannot create a job from this. We can't create another price list from this. What we have to do is create an agreement. We then go through the agreement wizard and we kind of create single packages of work. And we can see this because we've actually done it. So in the other videos, we showed you this process, kind of not as part of the bigger overview, but we can see here that we've created agreement. We've created agreement, and it's got this number here, so 2210.001, and it's been created from this price list. So this is what this one in bracket means. It's an agreement created from this price list. So you can see that this is the price list number, and this is the price list that it relates to. So if we go into this one, we can see the differences here. So again, you can see it's an agreement. So you've got the agreement in that's blue here. This is the actual number itself. And when we go to documents, we can see that this is for an individual package of work. So this is interceptor liquids, so they're the schedule clean out of their interceptor, so they're going to go and empty out this interceptor using a vacuum tanker, and there's an admin fee on top of that. So this is an individual package of work. This might be done once. They might just want their interceptor cleaned out once, or they might want it done every 6 months or every year, whatever kind of their schedule they've got built in. So this is an individual package of work using the agreements. So because it's marked as one, again using the different statuses, we can see that we can create a job with this. So we have the ability to create a job or create a job without validation. Won't go into that now. There are videos that kind of explains the difference between the two. But also just want you to note that the customize button here is visible that wasn't available in the price list option. This is because the option within customize, and these are going to get built out over time, is this ability to hide or show the total. So what we have here is you can see the total here, and the total is not used for price lists because it makes no sense. I mean, if you've got 40 different types of waste, if you've got 100 different type of extras, there's never a time when all of those jobs are going to be done with those values. So generally what you do on a price list is you'd have vacuum tanker transport on an hourly rate and show that it's £65. Very few times when an actual tanker will be out for 1 hour. It's much longer times than that. So the actual estimated total price on a price list is just null and void. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't work that way. However, on agreements, it can. This is a perfectly good example of we're estimating there's going to be 12 tons when they suck out the interceptor. We're estimating it's going to take 4.5 hours, and there's going to be an admin charge on that as well. So we're estimating this is going to be 670 quid. Sometimes on agreements, you actually don't know what it's going to be. Like you have estimates in there, but it might not be an accurate representation, or there might be kind of different things that will come into play. So you might have demurrages on there, or you might have like a weekend charges. So sometimes you might just want to be able to hide that total. So if we hide the total there, hit save, refreshes the page, and we've removed this out. So again, kind of showing you slight difference there between the price list and the agreement. But in this case, what we want to do is actually show the total price, and we'll reload that page. So that's showing you a price list to an agreement using the same information. So when we create the agreement, it just pulls all that information off, the ones that we choose in the wizard. Okay, so the third option, which we've created again, is a quote. So we've created this quote. This quote is not linked to the price list. It is an individual package of work. It has its own site and it has its name. So this is a fly tip cleanup. So again, we'll go into the sale, this quote, and we can see, so first off, what we can see is it is a quote, and we can see that at the top here. We can also see that it's a quote in the document here, and we can see that this is a discrete individual package of work. This should be the first, and like this should be the only time this job happens. Might happen more, but this is just fly tipping waste, so they're expecting about 25 kilos. Need a van to go down and pick it up, so they're expecting this estimated total price to be £787.50. So in the same way that we can customize it like we can in the agreement, we can hide that price, because sometimes quotes, like just the way the system works, the way life works, is even though like you can link up everything, sometimes you just want to be able to hide that quote off, that total price off. So, but in this example, we'll leave it on. Okay, cool. So it's a quote. And now, because it's one, we can see the convert button. And what we see now in the convert button is, so this is the complexity. So we have 3 options here. Because this quote has never been converted into a job or an agreement, we have 3 options. Well, let's pretend we've just got 2. So we've got the create job option and we've got create agreement. So they're 2 different options we can go down. So what we can do is we can create this quote and then just call a job off against it straight away. Or if we think, do you know what, this job's going to happen more and more frequently, what we want to do is be able to like create the quote which has happened and then create agreements against it, so we can kind of track this package of work. Then you could create an agreement. It's completely up to you as a waste management company. You have that option to do it. However, if you create a job, then the tracking for the kinds of the actions kind of falls down a bit, but that's fine. I mean, again, you've got different options. However, if you want to, if you are part of the managerial team or if you're implementing this service within your organization, what you can do is actually force your users down one path or the other. So if we go into system and we scroll to the bottom here, we have in sales, we have this feature here, is agreement required to create a job? So you might want that before every job is created, an agreement is created for it. So this is very useful for kind of tracking tracking quotes, the jobs that happened against quotes, when they're accepted, kind of things like that. So what we do is if you click this button here, is an agreement required to create a job? What we can do is save the changes and we can hit OK. Now when we go back into sales, and we go back into this quote one. So this only affects quotes. The other two are kind of unaffected by it, just because of the way the process works. If we go into view, now when we hit convert, we can only create agreements. So this means that this fly tip quote has to be converted into an agreement, and then it can be created into a job. So that's kind of the functionality around these three different types of sale. So again, price lists, agreements, quotes, price lists, all your work, all of the work that are offered to a client, agreements, kind of individual packages of work created from that price list, quotes, individual packages of work that might not be linked to that price list. These can then either be created into agreements or into jobs, and then all that information passes through the system. Okay, so that's all we've got. Again, if you've got any questions, just drop them into the comments below. And yeah, thank you for watching this video all about the free sales types.